I actually filmed a completely different video before this one, but I wanted to talk about a concept that just kind of came to me recently, and it involves a bit of a hot topic in the community, and it's Bionicle G3, but specifically, I've heard a lot of people go out of their way to say that Lego can't do a Bionicle G3, that they don't have what it takes anymore. They're not willing to take risks, that, in a lot of ways, it is a theme that is weighed down by its baggage, by its previous years, and soured to some by their experience with Generation 2 and how ultimately that was canceled. In a lot of ways, you could think Bionicle Generation 1 was canceled too, because it technically was. Yeah, there was a sort of pseudo ending for it, but by no means was it the planned ending that, hey, we don't necessarily know what that even may have looked like. That said, though, I've heard people in the community talk about how Lego should just give up. Not just give up Bionicle, but give up Bionicle. I mean, the theme. Give it away to other companies. Sell off the IP. I think that's a really interesting thought. Now, I don't think that this is a popular opinion in the community, but I see it enough to know that at least some percentage of our community does think something like this, that other brands could do a better job, would be more willing to take risks, maybe even work through and with Lego to perfect this line without Lego taking quite as much risk, so they would be better off and we'd get a better product for it. Ultimately, we can't know what a future of Bionicle looks like outside of the community itself. The community is the future of Bionicle in a lot of ways. But if there is an inevitable, I say inevitable because I want it to be real, a Generation 3-2 Bionicle, how does one handle that? What do you keep from previous generations? What do you get rid of? I know that there are so many people out there that have a specific idea of what Bionicle is supposed to be, but ultimately they leave off one detail. What Bionicle is supposed to be to them, what role it plays to them. It's hard as a member of this beloved community to separate your own subjective opinions from what could be a potential product. There are so many people out there that want to think that Lego couldn't do a Bionicle Generation 3 because they would fail. They don't understand what made the original so good in the first place. But ultimately, Lego is a very well-off company that could take risks if it needed to, if it wanted to, but often chooses not to, because why? They're comfortable where they're at, you know? It's worth understanding that Bionicle, ultimately, at the end of the day, and at the moment, is a time capsule, right? It is not just the preservation of a theme that was ever popular back in the early 2000s, and its resurrection in 2015, but ultimately it is a time capsule for the people who grew up with it, because no one today that buys or obtains Bionicles from the past is going to share that experience. They may love past Bionicle, they may fall in love with, and in fact, I've heard stories of people who have inherited Bionicles from their own parents or from their brothers and sisters who fell in love with the theme long after its cancellation, and I love that. Bionicle is a theme with so much left, so much meat on the bone, if you will. And a lot of that meat is the community. A lot of that is the community. I think that it's hard for a community that's been slighted twice, that's seen Bionicle canceled twice, depending on how long you've been with it. But I think the most diehard fans may have been with it since the beginning, right? Ultimately, think that Lego soured their experience the last time, so why wouldn't they this time? They're not hopefully hesitant about a Bionicle G3, but rather maybe the thought makes them cringe, makes them wince, makes them think, yeah, I know how they handled it last time though when they would do a bad job. That's possible, but Lego knows how to sell a product. Most of its products, most of its themes, most of its sub-themes succeed, right? I know that there are a lot of people who think that Bionicle, or rather Lego, is only known for a handful of themes out there, but that's not true. There may be only a handful of themes that speak to you, as there is for me, but Lego has delved into hundreds of themes over its years. It has so many themes on the shelf as of today, or in recent memory, that ultimately they absolutely could venture into new themes, new Bionicle, or venture to something from the past, like a Bionicle Generation 3, bringing back characters from the past. What would we expect, though, from another company's handling of Bionicle? Would they succeed? Would they fail? Would it be fans who pick up the Bionicle IP, or would it be another company seeking profit, right? Would it be another company maybe looking to sort of eke out a little bit of extra space in this otherwise Lego-dominated field of buildable characters and creatures and blocks and so on and so forth, right? Lego is a massive company. It's incredibly profitable, and more so every year. They're in no rush to risk that on specific themes, and rightfully so. But ultimately, I feel like we give them a little less credit than they deserve in a few instances, because a company with that much hold over the community could have so much more power than they do. They could be the Nintendo of buildable blocks, suing everybody that makes, I hate to say that, but suing everybody that makes something remotely unique with their product. But ultimately, Lego oftentimes goes out of their way to encourage the community. You've got fan games out there that Lego has seen and to some degree endorses, right? Or at least thinks that, like, yeah, we're going to continue letting these things be developed, letting these people's passions for fruit, you know? And I admire that. But it's also worth noting, too, that I think if another company had their hands on Bionicle, we would let go of a lot of the reservations we tie up with the brand that failed us twice, right? If another theme like Mega Blocks, Mega Constructs, whatever, got the Bionicle IP, or some other theme brand out there, even more obscure than that, got a hold of the Bionicle IP and created a product, would you expect the same level of advertising? Would you expect the same level of fanfare, honestly, for this IP? Would you unfairly give optimism to this new brand because it's not Lego, right? And I think that we hold a grudge against Lego for canceling these themes, and so we think that we can't expect them to do it again. We can't expect anything good to come out of this brand. They failed us twice, when at the same time, they hit home run after home run with a lot of the themes they currently have going. That's not to say every theme is a, gold nugget in the sand, a diamond in the rough, if you will, but it is to say that Lego learns. And though, yes, they do sometimes fail, as we're all prone to do, they succeed more often than not. I think that in order for a Bionicle G3 to be accepted by the community, which is a very specific ask, we also have to be a lot more lenient towards Lego. It's not to say you can't criticize if you get a set that they made for a future. If 10 years from now there's a Bionicle G3 and you're buying sets and parts are breaking or parts are missing, like, call that out. You're a customer and you deserve to have your rights respected as a customer, right? But ultimately, even if the theme doesn't hit all of the high marks you wanted to, may you still be able to appreciate what that theme is able to do for others and what it introduces to Lego's atmosphere and environment as a whole. I made a video just yesterday, I think, I don't even remember, time is a blur, but talking about Hero Factory 2.0, Ordeal of Fire, and why subjectively it's maybe my least favorite wave from that line. Many people have stated that as their least favorite as well, but there are just as many people who think that no, it's actually a really good wave, that it speaks to them. And I admire that opinion far more. I go out of my way actively to seek opinions against my own so I can learn from this community, because if I sit in an echo chamber of people who agree from me, I get complacent. I get comfortable in the knowledge that what I have is not just my opinion, but somehow a divine truth, right? But that's not the case. You could have 1,000 people that agree with you, but it doesn't make you right. Ultimately, that's what's worth taking away from all of this. that you are entitled to your opinions. You are entitled to your thoughts about how Bionicle would be handled in the future. You are more than welcome, as I often am, to be pessimistic about a Bionicle G3, about how it would be handled, about how it would impact those previous lines, what impact it would have on future generations, kids growing up with it today. It's a very different atmosphere today than what it was in 2001. It's lightning in a bottle in 2001. I don't know what the lightning in a bottle for the year of 2024 is. It's out there, I'm sure. There always is one, but I don't know it. And that's okay. And LEGO doesn't need to repeat that success. I would hope for their sake that they would, and if only because they would love to repeat that success. They would love to have a theme with millions of fans that sweeps the world over. What brand wouldn't, right? That's gold, But ultimately, the Bionicle G3 was in us all the whole time. I don't know, something profound like that. No. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And of course, we are sort of celebrating 1 full year of what I'm going to call consistent posting on YouTube. And I just mean growth on YouTube. Continuing to push out content, even though I know I can't necessarily do it every single day, even though I know I got sick a handful of months there, which really sucked. 2024 beat me down. But ultimately, it also brought me this community, and I'm very thankful for that. We are getting into the season of thankfulness after all. If you did enjoy the content, like I said, you can subscribe to help this channel grow for a further year and maybe long down the road from here. On top of that, of course, you can check out the Discord, Instagram, Patreon, all of which are linked down in the description. Patreon, of course, is greatly appreciated, and there is a video coming out there later this week as well. So I will see you all in the next one. Take care.